Hello humans, Raul here. It's been a while since I posted anything. The reason being is I've been working on an application. This one that you're about to see is a standalone app that I've created for iRacing, although I'm going to be expanding to Le Mans Ultimate, I said of course Project Motor Racing, Formula One. The reason being is I've got a passion for data. I'm a data scientist as a profession. I'm crazy about sim racing. I've combined the two and I've created something that I want to share with all of you. Right? I'll go in depth on how the app operates in separate videos. I'm going to give you a 10-minute overview, so just bear with me. It's not going to be a very long one, this one. I'll run you through how the app operates, the tab, the overview tab, telemetry, the engineer report, the car setup. Right? The app is available for subscription at $3.99 a month, cheaper than a cup of coffee. I'm not here, and I'm going to offer way more. Think overlays, think endurance, strategy, think one-to-one coaching, knowledge base, and I've got more in the pipeline. Right? This is not a gimmick. It's fairly scientifically approach. The approach that I've taken is fairly scientific. And I've tested this for a few months, and I've got a group of testers, and we've done some closed beta, and seems to be on the right track. I need you though to help me get it better. So the whole point of this is for you guys, come and subscribe, download the app, use it, and tell me if what's working, what's not working. You got any questions? So you need to just go into you click on this icon here. If it's a bug report, you report it. You got a feature request, something you'd like to see, or a simple question. I am a one-man show. I've created everything myself. I don't depend on anybody, so I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Right? Without further ado, let me show you around. So the first section that we're going to be looking at is the overview. It's basically think about it at your dashboard, right? Look, if you're like me, you spend hours in iRacing trying to get faster, and most of the time you're just kind of guessing, right? You change something on the setup, you go slower. You change it back, or you watch a lap and you're like not really sure what you're looking at, if that makes sense. So you're trying to figure things out. What the app is doing is I'm trying to remove all that uncertainty from the equation, if that makes sense, right? I'm trying to remove all of it, and all the app does is interprets your driving and your performance based on the telemetry file, right? On subsequent videos, I'm going to show you how to load up the telemetry files. But if you think about it, once you load up your file through here, you just click on load IBT file. Your folder, your telemetry files from iRacing are normally in your documents. Then you go to iRacing, the iRacing folder, and then telemetry, and you get all your files there. There's a couple of instances where the file might not be there. If you're running Garage 61, if you go into you need to install like a widget of Garage 61 on your computer to actually be able to connect your iRacing to Garage 61, and there's a tick box that says delete telemetry files after use. If you tick that box, then obviously none of these files will be there, right? So it's something to keep in mind. So you go select your file, right? And then what happens is it loads the file. In this particular scenario, I was racing Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on the Lambo GT3. My fastest lap was a 1:17. No laughing, I know it's low, never mind. I had 16 clean laps. Right? Here you get an overall score and a consistency score. Right? Your overall score is basically kind of your skill profile style kind of score. Sorry about that. And what it does is just trying to understand. The higher the score gets to 100, the better it is, right? Here you get your consistency score, so how your laps, how consistent they are. How is your pace compared to how's your pace being over the stint? Your throttle, you get the picture. This is a more important one. This is your performance, the performance radar chart, right? I'm not gonna go through them. When you get the app, you just hover over the little dots and it explains to you what it is. The most important are the braking G and the G circle. The braking G is basically how much grip you're using from the tires and the braking, right? The closer you are to the edge, the more effective your braking is, because you're using the most grip that the tires have to offer, right? So that's a good thing, right? And your G circle, the closer it gets to the edge, the more you're using the grip of the tires on lateral forces, if that makes sense, right? So if, like me in this particular session, my circle is close to the center, that means that my score is very low, 22 out of 100, which means I haven't been using the most all the grip that the tires had to offer, meaning I could have gone faster, I could have braked later, I could have been more aggressive, right? So that's the kind of thing. It tells you the throttle time. You get the point. I'm not going to go into a lot. Here you get your potential gain if you follow the engineer report and your car setup. The one here is a combined score based on combined time. If you apply the corner by corner recommendations that I'm about to show you, and you apply the car setup, this is the potential range that you can get. If you just apply the technique, which is if you just follow the engineer report, you might get in between 0.3 and 2.9 seconds. If you just change the setup, you might get in between half and a second, because you're going to feel more comfortable with the car. By the way, all these values are calculated using, race engineering formulas. I will have another video when I explain in more depth how I am coming up with these numbers. They're not Mickey Mouse numbers. I haven't made them up. They got scientific backup on them. I'm a nerd, man. That's just the way it is. So, anyways, it shows you that. And here you get an overview of all the corners or all the turns within that particular track, and it basically shows you over the direction, your speed at the apex, your braking range. So every lap, for example, in here is highlighted in red because my brake point varies 34 meters lap on lap. So there's something I need to look into, right? And you get other stats in there that, in the priority of this, you need to assess this. The priority is high, and you'll see why in a second. Here you get your lap times, and I try to make a little squiggly graph to make it look cool, but if you don't like it, let me know. Or you always come here, report a feature, or just send me a question online. It's all good. But it gives you an idea of how consistent you've been. Obviously, you want this to be a flat line across the purple, if that makes sense. We make our fastest laps all the time. But obviously, the first 2 laps you're warming up, the tires are cold, and then, it's a fairly consistent session within reason. You make mistakes, but, it gives you an idea how consistent your lap actually was. You get a couple more details here on your coasting and pedal time and your throttle commitment around 11 corners, and he explains here things for you, right? So this is your overview tab for you. If you log multiple sessions, so if it records here your previous visit, your previous time, and if you increase or decrease your time, I'll go that into details at the end of the video why this is very important, because this is a very, very clever application. It kind of learns. Every time you upload a file for the same car and track combo, it learns, and it keeps on adapting and giving you a better recommendation, fine-tuning the setup. So it gets really, really clever, if you know what I mean. Right? That's the overview tab for you. So we're on the telemetry tab now. I'll run through it really, really quickly. There's not much to show. I will go in details on another video. I'm going to go through every single tab again. I'll let you know, in more depth exactly how everything works. But you get a quick overview of the lap. You get your corners here. You got flashing circles. If you click on a green one, it means you're doing really well in that corner. A medium, yellow is medium importance. It tells you room for improvement. And red means you really need to look into this, right? Because you're making a fairly reasonable mistake, if that makes sense, right? I know I'm not looking at corners as a corner itself. I'm looking at places on the track where your steering wheel angle changes more than it should, or your braking changes more than it should, or your weight changes in lateral or front and back more than it should when you're normally driving flat out, right? And there's a reason for it. It allows you to understand corner entry, mid-corner, and corner exit, and what you could be working on. Like, for example, quickly here, I'm really bad at corner entry of turn 1, right? But I'm not too bad at corner exit, right? So this is the logic that I'm applying. I'll go into more detail on another video, right? Everything else is your standard lap. You get your speed, your throttle, your brake, your gear, your steering angle. In here you get your line delta between the green line is your lap, and then the purple is the reference lap, and how far away that you are from the dude, or the dude is far away from you. And then your time delta here at the bottom, it just shows you how I started the lap faster than him, I ended up slower than him. That's the story of my life. You can go by a sector. You zoom in into the sectors. You know how this works. You wanna zoom in into a specific area of your lap. There you go. Zoom in. It does that. The most important part is the map, right? You get this normal dark map, which looks awesome. But you can also go into the satellite view, right? The satellite view is more important, especially if you want to look into, if you want to look into braking zones, for example, where the dude is braking and where you're braking, and now you get a visual, you get a better view of where to brake, if that makes sense, which is something that, other platforms don't offer. So I offer that. You get other ones like you get the, it's not Street View. I need to change the name. It's your terrain view, and then you get your topographical view, which is like, you know, with bumps, and I just added it because I wanted to flex. That's all it was. Other than that, it's just fairly straightforward. Here you get your sectors. You can compare your sectors again, another of your laps if you want to. There's a reason for it. Again, watch a longer video when I post it, or you can load a Garage 61 lap, which is what I've done, and you compare yourself against somebody else that's gone faster than you, which is obviously the most advisable thing to do if you're looking for time gains, if that makes sense, right? That's pretty much a telemetry tab done. Right, here we are on the telemetry tab now. Fairly straightforward tab, to be honest with you. What happens is you upload your IBT file, the machine learning algorithm reads it, creates, you know, the profile of your performance, skill, and style, sends it to the cloud, where I'm using AI to interpret that data and come back to you with a human-like report. When it speaks to you in simple terms, like a normal person would talk to you, right? That's where you get this bit here where you can read in detail, you know, what you're doing at a corner, a turn 4. Right? You can read the summary, which is highlighted in bold white. But, you know, if you want to learn the details or get into detail, it actually tells you it is fairly detailed, if that makes sense. At the top, you get your 3 areas that you should be working on when it comes to driving, setup, and awareness. Here you are getting your potential time games. If you, based on just technique, meaning if you apply all this to a T, you can get up to 2.9 seconds. If you just apply the setup, you can get up to 1.1 seconds. If you combine the two, your potential gain can be, nearly 4 seconds. You get a message for your your chief engineer here, and it tells you like a summary of all the corners and how you perform on your best lap, if that makes sense, and it explains it to you. And then here is something similar, but at a much even easier, higher level. If that makes sense. It's all fairly straightforward. Some people might think, oh, it's a lot to read, but yeah, you will have to read this if you want to, get better at driving. I've been trying this myself for about 2 months now. It does work. It is hard to, apply every single one of these, but the information is there. The opportunity is there to get better. So now we are in the car setup section. It's my personal favorite. I like trying to understand how to set up a car, and this is what kind of kickstarted the whole process of creating this app. I didn't want to go and buy just a generic setup, one size fits all kind of setup. And I understand it's been some of these websites, that the setups are created by top drivers. I'm not saying that's not cool. I just wanted a setup that fits me personally, and it's going to fit you or anybody else, that subscribes, right? Because it's learning from your data, it's understanding your skill level and learning from your style, and sets up the car to you. A perfect example, right? Think of Max Verstappen, right? He, last year, the Red Bull car, it was undrivable by Liam Lawson, and Yuki Tsunoda didn't do very well, but Verstappen was awesome at it, right? It was tailored around him, right? The car was the same for both. It's just the setup was better for Verstappen, if that makes sense, right? So the car was set up for Max Verstappen rather than the other two drivers. So it's something similar here, right? You see, for me, this is going to look familiar. It's exactly like it looks on the garage on our racing. You got your tires and your aero balance. Now that we're here, you can see here 0 meters, the distance in meters. One of the things that I wanted to change first, right, is if you go to certain websites and you say, oh, you can use a tool for free for a while. Awesome stuff, right? But if you want to get your own display units, oh, that's a premium feature. Oh, that costs, it's not, oh, you got to pay for this. This is not free. The first thing I changed or I created when I this app was, usable, it was you go into settings here and display units. You can use metric, which you get a predetermined amount of values. You can switch to imperial and it changes for you, or you can use custom basically. I don't want to see this in KPI, I changed it. I don't want to see this in meters, I want to see it in millimeters. So I changed that to millimeters. I click on save, right? And now I should be saying, you see now 49 millimeters, 57 millimeters, all good. That comes, obviously, it's not a premium feature. You just get it for free. You just get it with the subscription, right? That's what I wanted to do. Give you as much as I can, right? Moving on to the chassis of this Lambo. So the Lambo's got a tires and aero, chassis, dampers, and I'll explain this in a second. In the chassis, when you see quite a lot of changes have been made to the car based on my driving, the results are going to be completely different to you, obviously, because the car is going to learn from your IBT file, not from mine. But it tells you what you should be changing for this track and car combo based on the 16 laps that I put in. I apply the changes myself, and if you really want to know, once I drove, it was 16 valid laps, and I did about 20, 22, something like that, right? So by 16 valid laps. So at the beginning, what I did is, or what everybody does, is you get the Lambo, you get in it, and then you adapt to the car. If the car is, the Lambo's got a mid-engine and it's rear-wheel drive, so corner exit, if you accelerate, you're going to understeer, so you have to get used to the understeering, not accelerate so quickly, blah, 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 blah. Fine. You do the laps. Now the car is understand, oh, Raul likes to accelerate mid-corner, for example, or Raul likes to steer the wheel really, really hard, right? When you got a back engine, you steer really, really hard. It kind of like, wants to oversteer, if that makes sense, right? And it's set up the car in a way where it's gonna be more forgiving when it comes to my inputs, if that makes sense, right? So at the beginning, when you do your second stint, once you apply these changes in the garage, in our racing, right? You make all these changes. Right, and again, it is not perfect, the changes. Like, you cannot get to 40 millimeters in ride height because the car is not balanced, right? So you need to work, because it is simply just not perfect. I'm constrained by what iRacing gives me as information when it comes to the telemetry data and the ranges that I can use to make changes in the setup. But it is close enough, if that makes sense, without having to hire a race engineer or a professional sim racer that can actually set up the car for you, right? Not for $399 in 2026, right? That doesn't really work, right? It is close. It is close enough and it's good enough. But at the beginning, the first 3 laps, 4 laps, 5 laps, you're gonna feel it feels alien, in the sense that the car feels different because it's not the same car you drove on the previous stint, right? So what happens now is don't be discouraged by it, because I was, right? Give it 5, 6, a lap 7, you're gonna go, okay, hold on a minute. Now I'm turning the wheel harder because Raul likes to oversteer, but the car is not spinning. Oh, that's good. It's because the setup changed, right? Or I can accelerate a little bit more on mid-corner and the car is not understeering. Maybe, traction control was changed, or the ARB at the back changed. It could be, a million different ways of getting this to work. But what you need to do when you change the car, especially if you've driven it for a while, is you're going to feel weird. Give it 5, 6 laps. You're going to go, oh, I get it now. And then you start going faster. And my time started getting, faster. So it does work, right? You get all the same information that you get on the iRacing garage. You click on here. It tells you why that change has been done on every single one of them. Right, you click on them and it tells you what changes are done, which is absolutely fine, right? Going to the damper section, it's the same thing. You just check here and all good, right? Now, this one is the physics and balance analysis. I'm not going to go into details on how I built it, because that's part of it. It's a topic on its own, but it basically is measuring the car from a physics and balance perspective. But I've fed the algorithm a lot of race engineering books, chassis aerodynamics, how to analyze racing data, and the algorithm learned from it, the AI learned from it, and it applies to it, right? And this looks a bit complicated. It's not for everyone. I am going to change it to a more graphical way, but what I have done is I've added this little section here, how to read this, and it kind of explains to you in detail, right? What this actually means, right? If you're like me, I'm a data nerd, man. I like to learn this stuff. But if you're not, just read this part and it kind of gives you a good idea of why the changes have been made, why we're measuring, right? And it tells you, it explains it all here, right? When it comes to damper style, the balance check, the damper telemetry, all that good stuff. So it's very good to understand the car, especially for people. Some people just like to drive the Porsche car, for example, right? And all they do is drive one car, right? This is going to be really good for you. I like to drive GT3s. I'm on the Lambo right now. I'm going to buy the Aston Martin next, for example. I like to change every now and then. So I like to understand why the car feels different. This actually is going to help you. But if you just want to drive one car on your own all the time, this is going to be gold for you, right? So this is just an extra bit that I've added myself. And that's pretty much it, guys. I am going to be adding the sections that I mentioned before, the endurance racing strategy, a section called the lab, which you're going to be able to perform your own analysis by dragging, I don't know, for example, you want to see what the relationship between track temperature and tire degradation is, and you're going to be able to see that in a graph, and the app is going to explain that to you, which is awesome. Overlays are coming as well. One-to-one coaching, I'm talking to people that are, experienced coaches, You're gonna be able to book him if you want, because I'm not the best driver in the world. I'm good at this, but I'm not good at driving. I'm learning. That's why I'm using this to get better. So that's coming. That's coming as well. For the time being, do me a favor. If you're watching this video, you can go to my website, which is alienblade.co.uk/racing line. You can create an account in there. It's for free. Don't have to do anything. Create an account and have a look at the website. It explains everything in detail. I put a lot of time into this website. It's quite interactive. This is real data, if that makes sense. You get a good idea of how the app was developed and what I'm trying to achieve. This is just example data that I'm using, but you get the point. I'm gonna be posting these videos. Gonna be here in the Watch and Learn. It's not there yet because I'm recording it right now, but it will be there. It's $3.99 a month. It's not going to change the price for the first 2,000 seats, the first 2,000 subscribers. I'm going to charge $3.99 a month, £3.99. Everybody else after that is going to be $5.99 a month. Still not expensive at all for the amount of stuff that I'm going to give you. The most important thing, and this is for you experienced or high rating drivers. I've been talking to a few of you, and you're very protective of your setup and your data. The whole reason why this app is standalone and it's not hosted on my website is because of that. I value your privacy too much. I value my own privacy too much. And your data, your setups, your analysis, it all stays in your computer. I touch nothing. I'm never going to sell your emails. I'm not going to sell your data. I'm not going to share your data with anybody. I'm not interested in that at all. It is all yours. Moving forward, I'm going to have leaderboards. If you want to upload your fastest lap to the website, obviously that's you can do that as well if you opt in. I will take minimum information for the fastest lap, the same amount of information you get from Garage 61, which is basically your throttle, your steering, your braking, your revs, and a couple more. Nothing to do with setups or anything like that. Your data is yours and it's going to be private forever. Have no interest in doing that, right? On the website, if you want to, you can submit feedback as well if you want. Same as on the app. Just go and pick it over there. All good. If you go back to the last thing I wanted to show you. Please, if you want to join me in any of the social networks, I'm on most of them, right? You click on there, it takes you to my page, to my channel. Subscribe. It'd be awesome to hear from you and help me make this app better by getting your feedback and your input. So don't forget, if you get the app and you want anything done or something is not working, let me know. I get the emails immediately, right? You go here, manage your subscription, for example, and it will take you to your account. It's not my name. I was messing about. I gave myself a promo code and all that good stuff. One thing you need to know, the app, you can only install it on one PC at a time. So if mine is installed here, if I want to install it somewhere else, you click on the button, transfer to new PC. It will deregister the PC that is already installed. You go to the new PC, go into your account, download the Racing Line app, and it'll be all good. You don't want you want to delete all your data, click on delete account, your data disappears. I don't keep it, I don't save it. And that's mainly for the big dogs, the people with higher rating. They're very private. I respect that 100%. You want to change your name, your iRacing name, awesome. And you just started everything. You started there. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Come and join me in this journey. I really need your input, right? I'm not here to make a lot of money, but I would like to make this my full-time job. I got a corporate job, and if you subscribe, you would really help me do more quicker. I'm working at a very, very high rate of speed, if that makes sense. But the more subscribers I get, the less I have to work on my normal job, the more time I can dedicate to this. No idea is dumb. Anything you think is useful, please just do submit to the feedback, or you can email me, DM me directly on one of the social platforms, whatever you want. I've emailed it for the time now. One more thing I want to add. You want to look at the car manuals, got a link in there. You click on there, it takes you directly to the link of iRacing, and then you get all the car manuals. If you know that these exist. I didn't know that these exist until a few months ago. Now I do, and it takes you there. Anyways, I'm all over the place for now. I'm all over the place now because I'm so excited. The app launches on Friday, the 8th of May at 5 p.m. UK time. Come join me. Come on that journey. Help me make this app better so I can give you what you want and need. Awesome stuff. Follow for more. Cheers, guys.